What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So I wanted a 12-inch dual bevel sliding compound miter saw, corded, for, you know, like a shop setting. So I went with the Dws780, and this has the cut line, the shadow line, which is kind of important. Once you have a saw with the shadow line, you don't really want one without it. And they charge $200 more for that, but I don't know, I'm gonna have this for a long time, so I might as well be happy with it. Let's unbox it and see what she looks like. Yeah, this thing is a beauty, man. I mean, I looked at a bunch of saws. I was looking at the Bosch one with that articulating arm, so you can, you know, go right up to a wall. But there were some things that I saw from other people that I didn't quite like about it. And I also looked into, you know, Milwaukee's, obviously, and it's $150 more. I mean, almost $800 for miter saw. So, and I've used these 12-inch DeWALT miter saws before, and I like them, so I went with that one. So I'm gonna get it all set up. I still gotta get a stand for this thing, and we'll test it out. This saw is sick. Absolute beast. Been using it all day. It's very nice to use. So I really spent some time looking at stands. Just trying to figure out what would work. I like the, you know, that portable one. But this is a 12-inch miter saw. It's pretty heavy, and I don't know. I just kind of wanted this. This will stand up on its side with the saw on it, and I'm not gonna be moving this a lot. I'm not gonna use this in, you know, Boston, Charlestown jobs especially. This is gonna be for a shop setting, so I went with this guy. Dwx726. So we're gonna unbox it, mount the saw on it, and see what it looks like. Well, looks like another build job. So I'm gonna start building it. Alrighty, there it is. Set up in its glory. So we're gonna go mount the saw on it and give her a hot supper today. Yeah, buddy. Ooh, shadow line. Very nice. So on the stand, I know I said, you know, I'm looking for like a shop setting, and I know, obviously, if I had like a real shop, I wouldn't have gone with that. I would have built a miter station, because there really is, like, when you use the stand, when you're using the stand, it feels no different than the compact DeWALT miter saw stand, the one that I usually use. Like, if you were just going by feel, how it feels to slap a board on, how, you know, how balanced the board is, cutting, it feels no different. The only reason I went with this one is because it had the wheels, and the miter saw is pretty heavy, and the stand is pretty heavy too, so it's a heavy package, but it's on wheels, it'll stand up, and the miter saw will just kind of hang off the side of it. I can wheel it up against the wall in the basement if I had to, but I'm just gonna set that up in my basement permanently, and if my boss gets jobs like this more often, where it's out in suburbia, and I can wheel it in, and I have no problem bringing it, but otherwise it's gonna live in my little workshop, and whenever I have side jobs where I can just leave saws there, because that's the biggest pain, is if I got a side job going on every Monday and every Friday, you have to pack up all your saws, the stands, and it's just like, it's more hassle than it's worth. So I'd rather just have a couple saws there at the job, just leave them. See you next weekend. But yeah, I like this stand because of the wheels, and I was concerned because I saw another guy who did a review on the stand and said that I wish DeWALT made the tires a little softer, a little wider, because it's hard to get up and down stairs. And I was like, ooh, that could be a problem. But I figured if I had to, I could always get aftermarket tires. It's just a bolt that goes through the bottom. I made sure I looked at that. So if I had to jerry rig my own wheels on there later, I could. But actually, this stand rolls better than the table saw stand. The table saw stand, if you're not careful, there's a piece of metal underneath that will catch the nosing on the stair tread. But with this miter saw stand, I did not have that problem. Like, it wasn't even close to hitting the nosing. At least here, anyway. But yeah, this saw is nice, man. It really is. I've wanted a full-size saw for a while, but I just had nowhere to put it. And now I do, so I was like, And I know everything else I have is battery, but I really want to get one of those vacuum, it's like a control box where you can plug your miter saw into it, and then you can plug, your vacuum into it. So as soon as you pull the trigger on the miter saw, the vacuum kicks on, and you can have a vacuum hooked up to table saw, miter saw, everything. And the nicest part, which I didn't even realize, I was expecting there to be on the DeWALT miter saw, the shadow line, I was expecting there to be a couple of AA batteries or something that I had to change. And I was like, you know what, whatever, I'll live with it if that's what it is, but it's not. I was like, whoa, what? And the coolest part about it is, like with my Milwaukee little table saw, there's a little button. Like the trigger's in the front, and there's a little switch in the back. And I still do it. When I pull the trigger on this. I do this little with my finger to try to flip that switch, because that turns the shadow line light on for you to line up your cut before you pull the trigger and cut. With the DeWALT, they have a little switch on the top. Turn it on, and you can leave the shadow line light on all day. You don't have to shut it off. And the best part about that is when you have those odd cuts that have to be like perfect, and you're sitting there and you're tweaking it and you're tweaking it and you're tweaking it and you're checking it, and then the shadow light shuts off on you, and you're like, you flip it again. This one, you just turn it on and leave it on all day. And it does not take batteries. It's actually run off the cord, which is pretty cool. So the only thing I do not like about this saw, and this is the reason I considered the Bosch, is if you look at the rails that come out of the back of the saw, the dust bag connects onto the back side of the rails. So not only do you have the rails to deal with, but you have the dust bag that sticks out past that. So you need a good miter saw. Is not going to be able to be pushed right up against the wall. I mean, you see it in the video how far it is off the wall. But I think if you use a vacuum connector, like a vacuum 90, that like clicks in and just goes straight down, probably save like 8 inches there. But you know, it is what it is. It's a really nice saw though, and it's a nice stand. It was expensive, but I like it. It's powerful. It does a really nice cut. Even the other guys were using it and they were like, wow. And then my boss has another DeWALT 12-inch miter saw on his other stand, and that one is not sliding and has no shadow. And they're like, there's two saws set up. There's that one, mine, and his. And obviously people gravitate to the one with the light. That light makes a huge difference. And DeWALT, I don't know why you're charging $200 for a flashlight. A flashlight, that's all it is. XPS technology, it's a flashlight that you stick on the back side of the blade and it creates a shadow line. I mean, this is caveman technology. Come on. $200? But they know how nice it is, and they know idiots like me will pay for it. Because it really makes a big difference when you're trying to line up cuts. I mean, I'm telling you, that I won't do any saws without that shadow line. And it does have a blade break. And you know, the blade break isn't the biggest deal to me on a miter saw, but it's an absolute must on a table saw. But it does have a blade break, and it is nice because when you cut, if you cut something and you lift the blade up too fast, it might catch something and send stuff flying. And I've had that happen before. But this one, you can just cut, hold it for a sec, blade stops, you release. But yeah, if you're looking for a 12-inch sliding dual bevel compound miter saw for a reasonable price, I would go with this DeWALT right here. Milwaukee, you're way too expensive. Way too expensive. If I'm gonna spend that kind of money, I might as well jump up to a cabinet saw. You know what I mean? But this DeWALT one's like right on the line. Right on the line. Oh, I could go with this, or I could go like full cabinet saw. Did I forget anything else? I don't think so. Yeah, highly recommend this thing. Awesome saw. Make sure you subscribe. You know, do the thumbs up thingy. And I'll see you next time.